Testing the mic, check, check. Don't worry, we'll get this started soon. Just business as usual. Hey, hello again, Bathory. Don't worry, Bathory, we'll get this started. I'm just, again, passing word out. This is not gonna go on forever like my usual speed runs. It's probably gonna be at least a 20-minute. Well, depending if I do get through this mini game, because I did try yesterday, and I died many times with no hope of passing through. So yeah, from there I just stopped. I thought well, I'll get to the intro soon. My proper intro for the MadCAST. But yeah, I thought I'd just do this just right out of the gate. All right, let's just. I think we should just get started now. Man, it's still early. Are people still sleeping? I got plenty of sleep last night, but I had to do this sooner just to meet with your guys' time zones since you guys don't live in the United States. All right, I suppose we can get started. So, to anybody watching, welcome again to another piece of content of the MadCast, a bonus live stream. Thought I'd just again do one out of the gate because just to get set for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis next week, I thought I'd just throw in another one. And here it's going to be on one of the unlockable perks from my A-list performances through Claire and Leon, and that is the Fourth Survivor, which is the mini game involving the fan favorite, the hunk soldier, um, who was present during the events of Resident Evil 2. Though it's not officially canon whether this hunk soldier did survive, but that's definitely up to the fans. But I had played this a couple times last night. I couldn't really get through, so thought I try my best to get through this mini game. Even after watching some videos before this stream, I thought I'd just try it out again. I'm not going to linger too long. This might be at least a 20-minute live stream. Depending if I do pass it sooner than 20 minutes, then that's where I'm going to stop. But for anybody watching, yeah, this is the Ford Survivor. We're going to try to attempt to do a speed run on it. And same rules apply. Even though I have a lot more weapons on me, I do have to play this considerably and tactically with how I'm going to use it, because most of the time I will have to just ignore certain enemies, but for some it is going to require some firepower, so let's get to it. Now, whether this is canon or not, I mean, this follows one of the hunk soldiers who survived the William Birkin attack. And this guy is still alive, uncleaned, and still breathing after lying face down into filthy, shit-ridden septic water. So,
mission accomplished.
I have the G sample already, so I have to go to the extraction point, which is held at the rooftop where the helicopter crashed, and this leads me from the basement to the Diamond Key hallway and into the police station desk. So let's get to it. And I thought it'd be practical. Yeah. The water infested with rats who consumed G virus samples, nonetheless bad theory. So that makes any sense. Alright. Just gonna blow these fart knockers away. Here I could just avoid these zombies. Yeah. Oh no! Get off! Fuck! Okay. I can already tell I'm not gonna survive this. But you know, it's just the first round. I can always try 2 or 3 more. Spiders! I love my spiders. Especially when they charge at you. There's gonna be dogs here. Yeah, this isn't looking too good. Fuck you. Oh shit, I'm already dying. Nah, I'm just gonna die right away. Fuck it. Let me just start over. Yeah, come on. Do your thing. Come on, come on. Come on. Lay one on me. Yeah! Nice. Yeah, I had to do that on purpose because I wanted to do a much more cleaner run, but so far it wasn't looking too good. Let's just do it again. And with just a minute spared, let's do it again. And good thing this cutscene just skips a little, so I'm already up.
Roger.
That way we could get this done right away. Alright, let's do this again. So, I got my thumbnail ready for the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis speedrun, and I also got more thumbnails set up, which is Code Veronica. Might as well just do Code Veronica into 2 parts, because depending how I play through it, it's kind of a lengthy game. So, might do that to 2 parts, and I'm gonna do Resident Evil 3 remake. I'm sorry, Resident Evil 3. Fuck, man, not again. This is not good. Resident Evil remake and remake 2 with Claire. I'm worried about dogs. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh yeah, I mean with male characters that you play as, it is inclined that they just head stomp a zombie on the floor, whereas with Claire and Ada, they just kick a zombie off. Fuck. 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 Well, no, not when they're coming all at you, Battery. That's why I need the shotgun, because it does the job quicker, and the shotgun has a good enough radius for me to kill the dog simultaneously. Oh, look at that, I'm already on danger health. I did waste a lot of shotgun rounds on them. Especially when you're in a tight corner with dogs, then that's where you need that's where you definitely need a shotgun. There we go. Alright, get away. I think for here, since it's a wide space with just dogs, I could probably use a handgun right here. Oh! You know, I think it is from my childhood. I was put off by dogs because of this game, especially Doberman. All right, let's do this again.
Alpha team here. Mission accomplished. Roger. We'll rendezvous.
Even with the Let's Play curse, this is a lot harder than I would have expected now. Of course, dogs take a lot of bullets. They're fucking bullet sponges. They have to wait for their animation cycles as they get up to be completed, and then you could give them some more. But they do take a lot. That's why I wanted to use a shotgun. Oh, fuck. I think what's worse than dogs is I have to get past the ivy. The ivy or like the plant things you run. Oh shit! God, I got past these guys so easily before. So when you have to like run into those guys from the lab, and the ivy do nothing but spray acid, and you can't really run past them or else they'll just seize you. Yeah, ivies are worse than dogs. I swear to God. Spider charged at me. Would you move, you fucking spider? I will say, after my Resident Evil 2 walkthrough with Claire, I did my Toy Story live stream spoiler review. Well, lack thereof, because I didn't think I did a good enough job with that review. In fact, I was pretty embarrassed to even record that because I was still tired. It was a lengthy stream with the Resident Evil 2 walkthrough, but no, there are no weapons to find. It's just shotgun, magnum, and handgun. So I had to kill them point blank with just bullet rounds, which aren't effective enough. But you know, I saw in a video where a guy just had to use his handgun with a good enough distance from the ivy, because if the ivy walked towards you close enough, they did shit out acid. God damn it. Yeah, it wasn't a good battery. I mean, it wasn't a good review battery. I was kind of like falling apart all over the place, explaining the movie. So I just had to delete it because I didn't want anybody to see that. It didn't come across my channel. But long story short, I really did like the movie. Not the best of the sequels. It's definitely the weakest, but it's not Incredibles 2 weak. It's definitely a good enough time.
Alpha team here.
And it's a movie I will still probably rewatch and collect on home video. It's just there's not a whole lot of meat to chew compared to the sequels. So it does feel like a film on its own, whereas the other ones, they do tackle some certain stuff. Not like the fourth movie doesn't. It does some interesting things, even though it is treading on familiar ground with the first movie. But I did enjoy it regardless. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a condensed version of the review. Of why Toy Story 4 worked. I could ape off of Pat's channel. Get him out of the way. I have to get past these clowns. There we go. Actually, I didn't even like it the first time I saw it, and I saw it on Netflix. Despite shit, oh fuck you. No, there isn't much to rewatch with Incredibles 2 because that was really disappointing of a movie. Like at least Pixar, when they make sequels, or yeah, when they make sequels, there was that creative spark with Lasseter and Andrew Stanton and Pete Docter and all those guys. But like, this was completely Brad Bird's vision, and this was the best he can come up with. Just a reversal of roles with a bit of Mr. Mom, a poorly executed twist villain, and some baby humor. But that's not even like, those aren't the only problems I have with the movie. I didn't like how it retcons the first movie. I did explain that in my Leon walkthrough. It retcons the first movie, and the villain's not that interesting. And it's just a mess of ideas that feel like they could be their own movies, but it's a sum of its parts kind of movie, which is the kind of movie I'm frustrated by. I would have liked to see the family take on like a Thanos kind of villain, like someone who's like unstoppable. Shit. Ugh. Oh yeah, I forgot to touch. The motivation of that character is complicated in the most frustrating sense. So, because, okay, her backstory was because supers were outlawed, so her family that she grew up under, who relied on the supers highly, had their house robbed. And instead of just like taking the panic room, they wanted to call the hotline to contact any available super, but since supers were outlawed, they couldn't really respond to any cries for help, any calls for help. And so her motivation is that because her family because a super couldn't make the phone call her family makes at the last minute, they just died. Which, that's not much of a reason to hate supers. In fact, I would just hate the government. Why not just plot against the government? Why would you want to form a coup against supers like that? It makes no sense. And that backstory was just hollow. Fuck you. I hate crows, man. Oh fuck, I'm already on danger. Son of a bitch. I think for here I could just use the handguns. It's a wide enough space for dogs, because there's more dogs there. Really, it was just a way just so the movie could have a villain. Yeah, well, you know, it has to happen because the film needs a twist, Bathory. It's not a good enough character if you don't have a twist. Fuck. Yeah, he's dead. No, that whole motivation makes no sense. It was very vague, and it didn't really make any sense. Like with Syndromes, I completely understood because he was just, and we could associate this now with fan communities and shit. He was just a fanboy who didn't get what he wanted, and that was to be the sidekick to Mr. Incredible. only because Mr. Incredible didn't want him to be in any sort of danger because his job involves a lot of risk. So it's not good to have just some civilian there with gadgets to help out, and because he felt wronged by Mr. Incredible, he wanted to make um, superheroes accessible to everybody, which is how he wanted to use that giant robot as a way for him to use his gadgets to save the day and shit, but like under his own plan. And make it seem like he is the hero that is saving the day, and so people could look up to him as the superhero that everybody wanted. It's just it was a better written villain. And I think with the second film, the novelty wore off, so the charm isn't all there. I mean, it could still be there with good enough interesting character development, because I don't think there was. It was just role reversal, and that's about it. Fuck. Well, I got this far. Ah. Oh my god, there was one moment that really bugged me. And it's not the opening again. It was like, Elastigirl. She completes her first mission under that guy who's the villain's brother. And it was a way to just get political support to have supers in public. But she arrives, I think, at their office or their house, and there's all these people like praising Elastigirl and stuff. But then there's this little girl who's like happy to see Elastigirl, and she holds up the sign that says, "Why haven't you stopped Screenslaver?" And it's a very odd scene because I don't know what it's trying to convey. I know what's trying to convey, like visually, but like who the hell paid that girl to have that sign? And even if that's supposed to be like a thing where like a thing that calls out as a way of Elastigirl not doing her job to stop the villain, then why the fuck is that little girl so fucking happy about it? I mean, shouldn't she be upset about it? I don't know. That was a weird part that bugged me. But just like, like the... Oh, fuck, man. It was so easy getting by these guys. It's just like, with some of these sequels, it just wears off the charm because it ends up, like, recycling a bunch of shit you saw before. Like with Toy Story does it... Toy Story's a great example where it doesn't recycle shit. I mean, the third one does in a way with the second movie, but it has new themes and dilemmas and crises that the toys go through. And it does some cool things, like what toys can we have that could exist with this universe? Fuck. you know, the political stuff with Incredibles 2 was just stuff I've seen in the Marvel films, like superheroes causing collateral damage. I mean, well, that was definitely tackled in the first movie, but you know, gaining public opinion on supers is pretty much like it's pretty much like Civil War. Or I don't think Civil War had that interesting of political intrigue, but it does the same stuff like Civil War. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Let me pull out the shotgun. Oh great, now I gotta worry about the crows from Dumbo. Have you seen an elephant fly? Well, I've seen a horse fly. I've never seen a house fly. But I don't think I ever seen a hunk fly. It really shocks me to death that Aladdin has made its money worth to be considered a hit. Like, the movie's made like $800 million worldwide. I'm very sad about that. I really am sad about that. I was hoping that movie will bomb and Disney will learn their lesson and take some hubris from making all these stupid fucking remakes, but no. Because the dumbass audiences just love their favorite, their childhood reimagined, but in a very cynical way. Audiences are dumb. Thank you. Couldn't have said it better. Fuck. Well, I blew a chunk out of that dog. Let me see. The thing is, they never acknowledge in Incredibles 2 that the collateral damage is whether stop them all. Don't think a giant drill down country soil is good. Okay, move. Yeah, so Aladdin's made enough money to be called a blockbuster, so I'm so saddened about that. And now people are gonna watch. Oh shit. Oh, I'm so dead. Oh, there I go. I died all of Richard Jackson. How long this has been going on, I wonder. Okay, this has not been going as I would want it, but let me try to do more tries, but if I can't, I'm gonna have to stop, because yeah, it is fucking hard, Bathory. I got him farther than this. Far enough to see the Ivy, but like the Ivy are just like, they require Magna rounds, but sometimes players got by them with using their handgun.
Alpha team here. Mission accomplished. Roger. We'll rendezvous at the meeting point.
I never seen Dumbo, so I could tell it's probably the same movie. That's what they all say, Bathory. Like, when Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 remake came out, I convinced so many people because I worked at a movie theater. I caught bits of the film. I convinced so many people that, yeah, the film's not really worth watching. It's just the same movie, with some deleted shit just added for filler. And people have denied me by saying like, no, 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 this is completely different. This is not the same movie as Beauty and the Beast 1991. And then when I saw on home video, it is the same fucking movie that I convinced people that it is. Sometimes people don't know shit. And I use good enough reasoning why I don't think it's different. But you know, I guess the dumbass masses just want their money's worth and just want the same shit recycled and regurgitated. Oh, beautiful. Okay, okay, I got a good opening. Okay, then that doesn't make it worth my time, Bathory. If Dumbo flies in the first act of the film, then all that build-up to him, like, having that ability just kind of makes it meaningless. I mean, well, not meaningless, like, there was careful enough build-up in the original Dumbo. Because when Dumbo finally flies in the climax, it's a great moment because we see this character just ridiculed and picked on by the elephants and you know, and you know, people, just people in general. Then it's a great rewarding moment for that character. It's just like, why would you go as far as to make it different but have Dumbo fly immediately in the first act instead of like the climax? I mean, they tried something different with those movies, but that's also a detriment. Shit. Flaming zombie. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Get the fuck off, man. Oh, just kill me. Oh man, this shit's so annoying. Well, I wasn't expecting A+ success, so. I mean, to break down those other movies you mentioned, Bathory, Maleficent, like, see, here's the problem with Maleficent. Maleficent wasn't solely on that character in the original Sleeping Beauty. It was solely revolving around the conflict between her and the three fairies. Because the princess and prince romance, and everything around it falls secondary. It's mainly just about like the fairies trying to find a way to outsmart Maleficent by hiding Aurora away from her. When it gets to the point where, because they weren't allowed to use magic because that will give good enough attention for Maleficent's minions to spot them, they eventually do, and that's what sets the whole thing in motion. They tried that with the 3D re-releases. There was one for The Lion King that came out in, I think it was 2011. But that was like when they tried to make the 3D thing a craze, and they did the same thing with the Star Wars prequels. But then they stopped. They didn't go as far as Episode 2. They stopped at Episode 1. And that was when Disney bought Lucasfilm, so that's why they had to stop. I wouldn't want to see the prequels again. And yeah, and I got away scot-free too. Okay, I got good enough shotgun rounds. But yeah, you might as well just re-release both movies. Oh, no, 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 no. Fuck. Oh, hello, spider. Because they're tarantulas, they kind of make them kind of adorable. Speaking of adorable furry things, I would defend Ewoks. I like the Ewoks. I know, right? They're adorable. You know, they don't bite unless you just provoke them. They're practically harmless. Just don't let them pose with their. Just don't let them do that dangerous pose where they threaten you. That's when they're scary. Yeah, can we stop the blame on Ewoks? I like the Ewoks. I like Return of the Jedi. I'll make that very clear on public domain. I appreciate the Ewoks. Like, yeah, they are. It is a cynical way to sell more toys, but they lend in hand. They lend a hand in the fight against the Empire. I mean, there is that lull when the Ewoks are introduced, and you see their the treetop village. I think that's where it does stop the film dead. But for the most part, I like Ewoks. Exactly, Ewoks are important to the plot. I mean, same way with the Gungans and shit, but they're not like they're not blamed. They're not they're not like Jar Jar Binks annoying, and they don't have the racism label. Ewoks are dope. I like Ewoks. I like the baby ones too. No, porgs are fucking useless. I wouldn't buy a fucking porg. I mean, who the hell liked them then? I mean, I like the crystal foxes in The Last Jedi. I mean, those are like the only, those are like the only like creatures in the background that I do appreciate. Yeah, Phantom Menace, regardless of Jar Jar Binks, that was the genius of the Red Letter Media review, is that they talked about so many reasons why the Phantom Menace doesn't work, and it has nothing to do with Jar Jar only. Like, the plot structure on who you're following, which character you're supposed to follow, is really lacking. You know, reasons why things were happening don't make any sense. You know, the whole taxation stuff really contradicts. Not contradicts, but it leaves a boring impression for anybody who's familiar with Star Wars. I don't hate Jar Jar entirely. I think the only part of Jar Jar where I like is where he consoles Queen Amidala in Coruscant. You know, you think use of people gonna die, and gives her the idea that you know, the Gungans are strong in numbers against the droids. Um, and it does give context to why the Gungans don't like the Naboo people. That's the only part I like, but everything else, nah. Now, I don't think the Phantom Menace holds up well under scrutiny. Though I like it a lot better than The Last Jedi. I'll definitely say that. No, like, George Lucas clearly said, like, the prequels are essentially made for children, but what kid is going to understand, like, the purposes of taxation and political votes? It's pretty much like my problem with Cars 3 especially. Like, Cars 3 is essentially a kid's movie, but what kid is going to pay attention to fucking, you know, sponsorship and, you know, corporate racing tactics and shit like that? Like, a kid's not gonna understand shit. They just want to, like, see the spectacle on screen, and I just died. Okay, I'm gonna try one more. If I don't get any further than this, then I'm gonna have to stop. Otherwise, this has been an interesting live stream. It's just, I guess I'm not pro enough to get by here. Oh yeah, Jar Jar was the only character within the arc. Jar Jar's a key to all this. If we can make it work, he could be one of the more funnier characters we can ever have. It's like poetry. It's sort of they rhyme. Every stanza rhymes with the next. We have gone too far in a few places. Yeah, the only benefit to the prequels is the Emperor, is Palpatine. Because Ian McDiarmid just, like, doesn't give a shit if he's working with a bad script. He just does the best he can with his performance, and he certainly does. Yeah, and that was with episode 2 and 3, but Anakin doesn't really get any screen time. As he does in the other prequels. Like, he's there just in that middle act in Tatooine, but that's about it. After that, it just falls into the whole political jumbo. And the Jedi trying to indoctrinate him into the Council. And yeah, it relies on Anakin too much to his detriment because, you know, you mainly associate Anakin with Darth Vader, who's, you know, if not the most popular character in Star Wars, and one of the best villains in cinema. And then having that, having this version of Darth Vader, who eventually becomes Darth Vader, just like, it contradicts so much what we know of that character. I mean, the problem with Anakin is that, yeah, he whines and bitches a lot, and he dwells so much on needless shit. I hate sand. It's rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Much like zombies, they get everywhere, and they're rough and irritating. Here's the reason, Bathory. Everyone in the prequels universe is an idiot. Fuck. Yeah, like there isn't much reason why the Republic would turn on the Jedi and allow Palpatine to form the Empire. But okay, I could probably do one more. Then I'm gonna stop because I think this conversation is kind of interesting. Yeah, because even it's shown like some sects of the Republic don't like Palpatine in power. Like there was a deleted scene where with Bail Organa, Padme, and the other and the other politicians who essentially become part of the rebellion are in Palpatine's office, and they want pretty much they just want the emergency powers that were bestowed on Palpatine restored back to the Republic, which Palpatine denies to do so. And yeah, there isn't a whole lot of like reasoning why. Not a whole lot of clear explanation why the Republic would just believe the Emperor and turn on the Jedi and allow the Empire to happen. I think here's the thing. There are many reasons that could have been avoided. If Obi-Wan hadn't turned up on Kamino, then the clones wouldn't be used alongside the Jedi, which eventually led to their downfall. Whoop. Yeah, because of the way the Jedi are interpreted in the prequels, it makes them much shittier than their heroic stature, than their heroism that we saw with Luke. Because Luke essentially becomes the shining example. He becomes the next. He becomes the better example of what the Jedi should be. Which is something that Patrick Williams fails to cover in his Last Jedi video in defense of that piece of shit. Boom, headshot. Whoop. And yeah, Obi-Wan turning up on Kamino sets the whole clone army in motion, and Jar Jar giving that one vote to Palpatine could have been avoided. If that wasn't like if that wasn't like the only last resort. Fuck. Alright, let's just run. Yeah, that's the thing I hate about, you know, certain characters in Hollywood is that, like the Jedi, there are characters that I can name off that are just, like, detached, emotionless assholes with no understanding of humanity that I hate. I think the recent film that I caught wind of this was In A Wrinkle of Time. Everyone is essentially a fucking emotionally detached asshole. And stuff like After Earth and the Twilight films. I will have to, yeah, I put a lot of blame for George Lucas for his shitty writing because it made a lot of Hollywood films so shitty. Fuck. Fuck you. Oh, fuck off, man. How did I get over here so fast, man? What the hell? He was just stuck around the corner. Yeah, this mode doesn't even fuck around, dude. I never thought I had this issue. Well, at least I got by there. I gotta reserve my shotgun rounds for much later. Oh yeah, I'm gonna use the Magnum against those lickers. Oh, but the trick is getting past, like, after the Ivy, the trick is to getting past Mr. X. And there are the mutated lickers from the laboratory. Yeah, here the spiders, they make them kind of adorable, but when it gets to Code Veronica, where they put some, like, some fleshy texture on them, then they do look a little creepy. Oh, look at that. Okay, this is it. This is the Ivy. Well, at least I got that far. Ah! Yeah, I got its attention. Okay, I'm gonna have to get a little far away. I must say that liquid breathing is creepy as hell. Yeah, it is creepy as hell. They remind me of xenomorphs. Oh, fuck. I'm so dead. Alright, I think this is where we're gonna have to stop. But yeah, licorice breeding are creepy. That's why I give them the name skinless xenomorphs. Cause you know, like the aliens, they can't see. They're very hypersensitive. Yeah, I made it to the Ivies, but not enough. And there was going to be more Ivy on my way down. Well, this was a fun run, but not a complete run. But I'm gonna have to stop this because I have to eat some breakfast and I'm gonna have to get ready for work soon. But for those of you who tuned in, Bathory, thank you again for tuning in on a MadCAST. And next week I should be back with Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And I did a demo run on my way all the way to the clock tower fight with Nemesis. And oh yeah, well back then I always assumed xenomorphs can't see. They're very hypersensitive because they don't have eyes. Um, yeah, and it took me until like 3 years ago where I realized the xenomorph's head has like a skull, which I find really fucking creepy. But I guess yeah, and they do see through that. Um, that was just like my interpretation of the xenomorph initially. But okay, as always, thank you again for tuning on to MadCast. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I should be back with the Master of Unlocking in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So, thanks again, and hope you have a good night.